Howdy, y'all. Happy Easter. It's Kim Tippin. I'm the wood turner on my channel. Yeah. Anyways, I wanted to make this video. It's not a turning video, but it's a video to get you to know me more, I guess. Who I am and how I came about to get into turning. We'll start off with who I am. Kim Tippin. Said that already. I have 2 children. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm a homeschool mom, and I'm a wife to an amazing husband that supports me in all of my crazy creative adventures. I'm truly blessed, and I thank you all for watching my videos. I'm truly blessed that you take the time to do that and subscribe and like and your comments, because those are very helpful and encouraging. I don't like being on this side of the camera. I also do photography. I like to crochet. I like to garden. There's a lot of things I like to do. As long as it's creative and it keeps me busy, my hands busy, me something to do, I love it. Wood turning is definitely something different for me. I love to work with wood and build furniture. Probably not the best type of furniture, just rustic. I call it rustic because it's probably not the best craftsman made stuff. But I have several projects in my home that I've done that involve woodworking and all kinds of stuff. So working with wood wasn't absolutely foreign. I didn't just jump into it without any kind of knowledge whatsoever, but I definitely realize how much I don't know, which is a good thing. Learning is never bad. About 3 years ago now, I started watching YouTube. I came across a video. I think it was Nick Zametti who was turning a resin and wood combination pot. And it was gorgeous and beautiful, and I immediately said, I have to learn how to do that. I want to know how to do that. I want to know how to turn. I don't care if I make just one thing. I have to do it. So about 2 years of obsessing every night after the day's duties were done, and my downtime, I would just sit and watch video after video after video, and of all kinds of turners, wonderful turners that took the time to put the videos out and show everybody, show the world what they're doing and how they're doing it, and their beautiful pieces of work, even their failures. That's amazing that they're humble enough to even put their failures out there. So I really appreciate that as well. When you turn, you find that you have a lot more failures than you do successes, but each one of those teaches you a new thing, and it's great. It's a fun journey. So back to my story. I get distracted easily. So I started watching YouTube videos, amazing turners, from sharpening your own tools, making your own tools, drying wood, everything. I mean, all of what I know, which isn't very much in a sense compared to what there still is to learn, is because of wood turners. All of you wood turners out there, if you put videos out, I've probably watched you. So I want to thank you very much for taking that time to do that. I have never had any hands-on lessons. Everything that I know and know how to do is because of YouTube. I have a YouTube education. I really appreciate all those who I did have asked questions, that they've been very helpful and supportive. It's a wonderful community to be a part of, so I thank you for welcoming me into it. So my husband bought me a lathe, a small lathe. It was a mini Harbor Freight lathe for my birthday last year in March, and that's what I started with, but quickly upgraded to their larger lathe about a month later because I wanted to turn bowls, big bowls, and wore that lathe smack out about after 8 months. It was a great lathe, and it did wonderful while I had it. It's a good starter lathe. So since then I've had a Laguna, and as soon as I plugged that one in, smoke blew up back. It was done. I didn't even get to turn on it. Sent it back, but not before they sent me a headstock, which is still sitting in my shed over here. I've contacted them several times about getting it. It's still sitting in my shed. Anyways, enough about that. I don't want to talk horrible about companies. I do want to share my experiences with them, so you know that those are possibilities out there. I don't know if it's the luck of the draw. There's several people. I mean, I admired Lagunas. I've wanted a Laguna since the first day I watched a turning video, and it was within, it's within reach over time as far as price goes. But unfortunately, my experience with it is all bad. Not saying that everybody's experience will be bad. So I decided to get my Grizzly 766. That's what's here behind me. I just received it about less than a month ago. Put it together. I had different chucks that had adapters on them, and I was getting a wobble. And I couldn't understand why. Like, something happened to my chucks overnight. Something's wrong with them. They got dropped. I don't know. When you have a wobble in a lathe, there's several things that could be, and it's very frustrating, especially as a beginner, not understanding a lot of these things. Very frustrating to try to figure out what's wrong and what I'm doing wrong, because a lot of it could be operator error. I'm not experienced. I'm not the best. I make mistakes. So found out that adapters can cause wobble in chucks, and so I returned several chucks and adapters, bought a Nova chuck that fits directly onto the spindle, so I don't have to have an adapter, and I was still getting a wobble. Tried ignoring it, tried to just move on, because this is since December I have had issues with wobble, with problems with lathes, and so I just want to get back to turning. I just want to get back to my happy place of turning, and having these continued issues is very frustrating. It almost deflated me completely to where I was going to give up and say apparently it's just not meant to work out. So still getting a wobble. Called Grizzly, and they said it's probably the spindle. Something's wrong with the spindle, the bearings, so they're going to send me a new spindle and new bearings that I get to install myself. I can do it, whether I want to, not so much. I don't really want to deal with having to pull bearings. If you've never pulled bearings off a spindle before, pulled bearings out of a car or anything else, you have to have a bearing puller, and you can mark up the shaft pretty good if you don't do that properly or have proper tools to do it. Thank goodness my father's a retired mechanic, so he has the tools. We replaced a spindle and a Bic mark, so I have experience, but not necessarily I want to do on a brand new lathe that I just got. I just want to turn on it. I don't want to fix it already. It's like buying a brand new car and having to fix it already. It's very frustrating. So forgive me, I don't mean to speak poorly about Grizzly lathes, Laguna lathes, or any lathe that matter, or people who have them, because there are several turners that I admire and look up to in their work, and they use these lathes. I believe you can do anything with anything. It's 8 months, and I did awesome stuff, learning on my Harbor Freight lathes. So I just want to give you, don't give up. I want to give up right now. I'm just worn out, and I don't have a whole lot of time. I homeschool my kids during the day, and then the afternoon is where you get your laundry, your dishes, your, meal preps, and, all that stuff. I have a big job as it is during the day, and I want to come out here and be able to just get away and be creative and allow just that creativeness flow. And when you have machines that don't cooperate, anyways, it's frustrating, but I want this to be a good, happy video. So pray for me. I haven't got this, I don't know when the spindle's going to come in, but I'll probably video me pulling it apart and fixing it, because that'll be entertaining in itself. I'll probably throw a few wrenches and screwdrivers and such. So as soon as I get this wobble issue under control, I will post a lot more videos. Unfortunately, when I'm hollowing out, or especially within about the 3 inches of the center of the spindle, 3 inches or more, you get a real crazy wobble. So when it comes to hollowing, the tool gets like kicked back. Even if it's smooth, it's not rough. If anybody's ever experienced wobble while turning, they understand that feeling. It's not fun, and that's another reason why my cedar piece that I had flung off the lathe, nonetheless, that it's cedar is also cracky. It chips when it's dry. It just, you get a crack and it can break. I've had several cedar pieces fly off the lathe with the tenon still attached. A larger tenon would probably be best. I did leave a lot of meat on the bottom of that particular piece because I kind of had an idea that that would happen, so I left a lot of meat, so in case it did, I can somehow make a new tenon or a mortise or reattach it. So that's why you see a lot of real chunkiness and bulkiness at the bottom of it, because the last vase that I had done, I didn't video me making it, but it's the short little clip of it turning on the lathe, and it's really glossy and beautiful. I still have that vase, and I don't know if I could ever get rid of it. I love it. That piece I had left a long tail end because the same exact thing happened. So I managed to be able to get it back on the lathe and make a new tenon and put it back on and finish it off. Thank goodness it was towards the tail end, so it was really just the sanding and the buffing and everything else that needed to be back on the lathe for. I hate hand sanding. It is, I don't have patience for them. Very impatient person, although this trade or this outlet of creativity definitely stretches your patience. You have to be patient. The wood likes to do whatever it wants, and that's kind of good, because when you want to be in control of your creativeness and you have this idea, when the wood decides to change your mind because of a crack or a void that you may come across that you include, it's kind of really nice to be able to just let go and let that piece be what it wants. And in the end, it always is gorgeous. And that's another reason why I don't talk a whole lot of times through my videos, because my brain is just I can't slow it down to put what I'm thinking I'm doing into words. I watch back the videos when I'm editing them, and I'm trying to remember what it is that I'm thinking in the process, and I can recall it, but there's so much. So that in itself is a challenge. So I just got to slow down and try to speak more and let y'all know what is going on in my head. Al Furtado, he does a wonderful job of doing that. Steve Ogle, he's an amazing turner that he's able to just talk and tell you what's going on in his head. Several others that I don't have a list of them to read them off and can't remember their names right off the bat, but I love how they're able to explain and tell you what's going on in their head as they're turning the piece. And a lot of times I'm just going into it going, what the heck am I going to do? Because if I start a plan, I know it's never going to end up working out. Especially, I work with a lot of wet wood. I have, I could say, no dried wood. If it's free, it's for me. So I go to friends' house that have bunch of firewood sitting next to a burn barrel or a tree that came down, or driving through the neighborhood, I'll see trees that are down and pick up logs. My kids have now known that I'll scream fogwood found on ground, and they're going, oh no, you know, we're going to stop on the side of the road. My mom picks up logs and throws them in the back of the truck. Yeah, that's me. I have neighbors and stuff who know that I collect logs and wood, and of course you always get those who, I have a tree that you can take if you cut it down. Well, when it's down, I'll come get it. Some of you turners know what I mean. I have cut down several trees on our own property that we're clearing, and you've used those, so that's convenient right now. I got as much wood as I want still planted in the ground that I can go out there and chop down. So, see. I have a friend on Facebook whose name is Michael Cruz. I don't know if I mentioned that yet or not. I don't remember. And then I just say whatever's on my mind, and I don't remember if I'm repeating myself or not, so I apologize. Anyways, as soon as my lathe issue gets worked out, I'm going to finish these. He's an amazing turner. If I haven't mentioned that already, sorry if I already have. He sent me some beautiful, this one is a cherry burl. I've turned cherry before, but I've never turned, actually I've never turned a burl. I have a necklace that I made, and I don't know if you can see it. It is burlesque. I don't know if it's a burl, but it literally was this small. It's just a weird looking growth on a tree that I cut off, and I was like, this is my first burl. It's a little dinky thing. Made a little donut for a necklace. Anyways, I keep saying anyways. I'm sorry. So uncomfortable behind the camera, and I apologize. It will get better, or you'll just be annoyed and not want to listen to me. I'm sorry. Anyways, this is a cherry burl, and he's roughed them out, and they're dried. So I'm assuming I just make a new tenon, turn it around, or shape it, and then hollow the rest of it out. I'm hoping that I don't destroy these, and I turn them to do them justice. They're beautiful pieces, and I really appreciate that, Michael, and I hope that I do you proud. I haven't turned dried bulb lengths before. I have a few pieces that I tried to turn so they'd dry, but because I'm so used to just turning to finish, they're probably all too thin for me to read. I would show you to them, but it's a disgrace. This, I don't know what it is. I'm thinking it looks kind of like the same wood as this, which is maple. This is spalted silver maple. Look how beautiful that wood is. I cannot wait to get this on the lathe and finish it out. And I think this is just maple. I'm not sure, he didn't label this one. So Michael, if you see this video, comment. Looks similar to the silver maple. Here's the back of it. I'm almost certain it is. I don't know. I'm not very good at identifying woods. I can identify oak, especially when you're turning it. They all have this distinctive smell, and I turn a lot of oak. I like it if it's spalted sometimes, but other than that, you just get tired of turning oak. It's like, when will it ever end? But that's okay, because it's good for practice. I don't want to ruin a really good piece of wood, you know, turning it, especially when it's wet, because you have to wait for the drying process. I've learned a lot on how to help with the cracks and dousing it in mineral oil, and you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm just in the experimental phase of everything still. I wouldn't call it the best. This piece, excuse me, I don't know what it is, but it's beautiful as well. I think something ambrosia. I see all these beautiful pink, reddish coloring in there. Ambrosia maple. He didn't write on the bottom of it what it was. I love it. I love these different woods, and I can't wait to turn them and finish them. And so whenever I get my new spindle put on, and this thing isn't wobbling anymore, I'm not making everything egg-shaped. Literally, stuff will end up looking like this. Now, this was a roughed out bowl that was intended to be roughed out so it could dry. And once it's dried, then you go out and you go back and finish it off. But my stuff would look like this. Matter of fact, one side would be skinny and the other side would be fat. And that's another reason, like I said, another reason why my cedar piece flew off, because once you get down into the center when you're hollowing, it is doing this at you. Sorry. It is doing this at you while you're trying to hollow it. So your tool is almost turning like as if it's a piece that needs to be roughed out still, but it's not. And you're hammering on it instead of cutting it. And so there's that when it pulls out like this, and the tool is anyways, if anybody's ever had to turn on a wobbly lathe, they understand. And I don't know how to explain it. But anyways, back to this. Thank you, Michael, so much for sending these. I'm overwhelmed with excitement and joy and fear that I'm going to mess them up, but regardless, I hope that I can turn them to make them as beautiful as they can be. So anyways, I hope that y'all enjoy the content that I put up, the turning videos, and like I said, I'm going to try to get more and more up there as this lathe gets fixed. My intention whenever I first was turning on my Harbor Freight lathe was to do one every week, or even because I come out and turn almost every night. I try to, if the weather permits, and you know, my week isn't so overwhelming. So thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate your likes, your comments. Please share. I would like to monetize my channel, but you have to have a certain amount of people. So hopefully as my content gets better and I talk through my videos and explain things, it'll be more appealing and something that everyone, regardless to whether you just like watching turning or if you really just want to learn. I'm gonna be more explaining my creative process. Technical wise, there's plenty of people out there that you can get wonderful technical advice and the how-tos and things like that. Not saying that you can't get that from me, but I'm a watch and learn, and there's several out there that, I mean, you could just, anyways, pick up on all that stuff. So I hope to help inspire at least. And I will put a link in the description for Michael Cruz and his wood turnings and his website. They are amazing pieces and truly inspiring. Plenty there, and I'll try to list some other turners that I enjoy watching. So if you think you like my stuff, you're definitely going to like their things. And I appreciate, again, all of you turners who spent your time posting videos and helping someone like me to get better and better every day, turning and creating and just having a really good time. So thank you for subscribing again, and I hope to upload more videos soon. We'll see you then. Thanks.